G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. Today I'm at Hillend and I'm at a place called Merlin's Lookout, which is a magnificent lookout. The eye can see what appears forever. But in particular, what this lookout shows and identifies is an area where a tremendous amount of rock has been excavated over time, and this is the area here where the mania, the gold mania, took place in the 1850s, 1860s. So let me just try and read something to you to try and put into perspective. It was from near here that in 1872 Beaufoy Merlin captured the ant's nest activity on Hawkins Hill in his panoramic photographs shown on the far right. So I'll just show you the photograph over here. So this whole area back in the mid-1800s was described as being an ant's hill. The incredibly rich gold-bearing quartz veins, which are referred to as reefs, within this area made it the focal point of the Hillend Tambarura goldfield. So what we're seeing here, what we're actually seeing in this photo, and I'll just focus in it again, is many thousands of tons of rock have been excavated in the search for gold. The mullock tips, the waste rock that can be seen from the lookout along the slopes of Hawkins Hill, are an indication of enormous amounts of work that have been done below the surface. The graphics below show the scale and extent of just some of the underground workings within Hawkins Hill and adjacent areas. So this was all identified as being reef mining. So reef mining, by its very nature, was a more permanent operation compared to alluvial mining, where any load was relatively quickly reached and worked out, because the time and effort needed to sink a shaft or drive a tunnel into rock was considerable. Reef miners and their families put down more extensive routes as far as accommodation and facilities were concerned, and this explains the part why the town still exists today, whereas Tambarura, a few kilometres north, has all but disappeared into history. Tambarura was permanently an alluvial field, and once the centre of the Hillend Tambarura goldfields. So staggering development took place along the line of reefs over several years from the early to mid-1950s. Accidental discoveries of gold on the lower slopes led to the opening up of some gold-bearing veins. It was not a case of riches from the very start. Occasional finds provided an impetus to the sometimes waning activities. The other finds following led to the mania of the 1870s. So towards the end of the 1860s and into the early 1870s, the discovery of several incredibly rich zones of reef within the relatively short period of time of Hawkins Hill gave birth to the term the Golden Quarter Mile. The Golden Quarter Mile, which is 400 metres. This block of ground became the focus of the 1870 boom times and was talked about all over the world for its wealth and capacity not only to lure people to the goldfield, but also capital for financing of legitimate enterprises and some not so legitimate practices to do with share trading and speculation in mine ventures. Much of the work was carried out prior to 1870 using relatively primitive mining methods of hammer and tap to drill holes in the rock for subsequent charging and blasting powder, and it was estimated that at the rates of sinking, a shaft in rock were given 1.8 to 3 metres per week, 6 to 10 foot per week. So there you go. That's the story of this area here. So this was the ants' pants. This was the ants' nest once upon a time. And from this vantage point up here from Merlin's lookout, we can look down onto a place that was once world-renowned. So I guess the question is, how come people are not here now mining for gold, given the amount of gold that was found here? If I go over here and have a read again, there was one specimen, specimen of gold, and it's called the Byers Holterman specimen. This mass of gold and mundic was unearthed on October 19th, 1872 in the Star of Hope mine. Great name, Star of Hope, I love that, on Byers and Holterman's claim at the 40 metre level. So we're talking about a gold nugget that was approximately 2,750 troy ounces of gold. I don't know, is that 2.7 kilos? No, sorry, an ounce, 16 ounces to a pound, and 2.4, I think, pounds to a kilo, or 2.24 pounds to a kilo. So we're talking about a huge amount of gold being found in one specimen. The weight of the specimen here, 286 kilos, a height of 1.5 metres, a width of about half a metre, an average thickness of 4 inches, 100 millimetres. So quite spectacular, to say the least. So you could imagine what it would have been like being here, being part of the excitement. You know, it's hard enough containing our excitement these days with share activity and property market. But could you imagine coming to a country and knowing that there is an opportunity to come out here into a gold field and become a multimillionaire overnight with one find? Of course, that didn't eventuate for the vast majority of people. But, you know, with Bitcoin, with shares, all you need is people to be tweeting. And back in those days, it would have been through Telegraph, but tweeting the possibility of huge finds being uncovered, then you could imagine that it would have been quite exciting, quite exciting indeed. We see the share market in the US violently moving 1,000 points overnight and back up and back down. So we're in very, very volatile times at the moment, which create opportunity to lose a lot of money and to gain a lot of money. Just like this place here would have created significant opportunity to people to speculate, to up and leave and come and migrate and live here, work here. Many, of course, not achieving any return on their investment or their labour. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. And as we do, we just love highlighting and showcasing the beauty of this country that we live in, and trying where possible to overlay it with a message of empowerment, where we can take OPE, other people's experiences, and see if we can model them, see if we can learn from them, because with OPE, we all understand some people are examples and some people are warnings. warnings in terms of what not to do or examples of what to do and replicate. So I'm just taken back. I just can't believe how beautiful, how expansive this view is from this lookout. I was in Hillend, just down the road there, 2 kilometres away, and I saw a sign talking about a lookout, and I said to myself, nah, because I could see all the trees. I could see we're pretty low down to the river down there, and I didn't quite expect to have this elevation and this view, which is absolutely magnificent. And I recommend anybody coming to Bathurst or Orange or Lithgow to take a little extra drive. It's about an hour from Bathurst to come to Hillend, and I'll be heading back to Sydney via Safala, which is also beautiful, quaint and extremely historic. So take care, and we'll chat again. From Jim, signing off from Jim's 5am club, and just wondering what it would have been like living during the times where that quarter mile was the centre of the universe. Take care, and bye for now.